We'll discuss all these issues, and I think we are most suitably placed in the company of all the panelists that we have. I'll keep coming, and I'll try to be a thread in the process when three of us make make some attempt to kind of explore the topic of the day. I would want to request Dr. Devendra Kumar to kind of initiate this discussion about how do literature and publishing come together, and particularly from the side of some unpublished manuscripts also. What is their role? Dr. Devendra, you are welcome, and kindly just enlighten us on the broad aspects of the theme, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pramod, and thank you the organizers also. You have rightly discussed about the art of publication and the course IGNU is running. They are really very valuable course. So when we think of publication, see, it's really, publication is one of the arts, number one, because it's the form of art which inculcates value not only in the publisher but in people also. So it's a very important art. When we start thinking of publication, it means we start thinking of exhibiting something. We start thinking of exhibiting the idea which we want to float among people. So this is very important art. Number one. Number two, when we talk about literature and publication, so literature, as everybody knows, that it's the way of life. Literature is the interpretation of life, and life should be interpreted in the form of writing. When you publish anything, so life should be interpreted as it is. But in literature, because it's a very, very creative faculty, and when we start publishing in literature, we start publishing our creative things also. So all creative things which are either imaginary or which are factual may be presented to people, but the aim of the writer should be to inculcate values at all, because literature entertains, literature delights, and literature also consoles people. Sorry. So literature is something which infuses life into the dead. And today, because of this pandemic, everybody seems to be very, very dull, facing very dull time, boring time. So in this boring, dull and boring situation, literature can console you, and literature can sustain for a longer period. So now this is the right time. But we will have to think who should publish and what should be published. In literature, I think it has been the convention that people who are already established, people who are already writing, they should publish something. But I am having something different ideology, because people who are coming into the world of literature, who are very, very new, or you can say they are just like infant in the world of literature, they should also publish things. Because unless they start publishing things, you simply cannot bring them on the horizon you want to bring them. When they start thinking about their publication, their writing, then they will have to bring some ideas together. They will have to consult people. They will have to consult books. They will have to consult even the literature available today on net and other social medias. And then they will come out with some good piece of literature. So my opinion is that we should give chance to the young people. We should even start from the graduation onwards. People who start studying literature during their graduation courses, I would request IGNU to design a course on art of writing research papers, art of writing creative things also. So of course there is a course on creative publication, but there is no course on art of writing research papers. So if we start writing research papers right from graduation, then there will be a different attitude and quality will come out.
I think what you said, Dr. Devinder, in terms of unpublished manuscripts and newer titles and giving a space platform to newer voices, that is very important. Would you like to add to that, please?
Yes, sir, please. See, when we think of publishing and we think of writing, I am actually in favor of writing two things. See, when we talk about the new generation, they feel that whatever is written in the old scriptures, that is not relevant. But my question is that have we been able to produce any epic in the previous century? Not at all. Why? We know that epics are beyond time, beyond space. So there are pieces of literature which are beyond time, beyond place, which are applicable anywhere in any corner of the world, irrespective of their language, whatever the language they have been written and who has written them. We have not been able to produce any Paradise Lost. We have not been able to produce any Iliad. We have not been able to produce any Ramayana or Mahabharata, even any epic close to these epics. So there are timeless literatures which we should read. Number one. Number two, I remember Alexander Pope when he says that true ease in writing comes through art, not by chance. As those move easiest who have learned to dance. It's an art. One will have to practice a lot, and then one will have to come into the market with the piece of literature. Number two, when we talk about the unpublished things, so again there are two aspects of unpublished things. Very famous Western writer, again Alexander Pope and George Orwell, they both are having the same opinion. They say that we write because we have a lie to expose. Okay, lie means whatever the books are having is not a complete truth. It means there is something which people don't want to tell. We will have to see the unseen first, and then we will have to come out with a good piece of writings. So literature is the interpretation of life as it is. We cannot exaggerate. We cannot impose our lie in the piece of literature. We will have to look at the aspect of real life. Number two, there are people who have composed good poems. There are people who have written good pieces of literature. It is the duty of the publishers to run a drive. Okay, nowadays we find many programs on television which are focused on the young talent. Okay, likewise, I request the publishers to run some programs which can focus on the young talents, because they are having immense knowledge. They are having immense things with them, and there are some flowers which are still unseen. So we need to notice them and we need to look at their talent. They should find out some pieces of literature and they should publish them, because it will really be a useful thing to the society, and it will also be encourageous to the young authors. And I have also requested through a letter of mine to Government of India, and probably within next 6 months, Dr. Ambedkar International Center and Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, we are going to open a platform for the budding authors through our library. We are having a huge library, and through our library, we are conducting some programs for the budding authors. So my request to the authors, not to confine to the publishers, rather, not to confine yourself to the established authors, but to give chance to the budding authors. There are people who are having really good talents. Secondly, when you think of the budding authors, I'm not saying that you give chance to everybody. Here comes the role of the experienced authors. You can take their help. Likewise, these reality programs are there. You can appoint them judges. You can have the benefit of their experience in judging the talent of young people, but at least give chance to young people. They are publishing their literature online, on Facebook, on social media, and they're wonderful piece of things which you find, wonderful piece of information. And their literature is sometimes so useful that I am sometimes very much surprised that this sort of literature should be published and they should go on and on. So people are using Facebook, people are using other social platforms for publishing their literature. Of course, this is right. But I also request the publishers that you should identify these people, and you should also create an online platform, because sometimes authors are not able to afford the cost of publications, especially the young authors. So for them, either you should cut down the cost, or you should subsidize the publication, or you should create an online publication platform that can be very much helpful to them. Dr. Pramod. And ultimately, Professor Pramodji, I would like to finish the argument with one of the quotes of Alexander Pope, that we should give value to the values. We think that all literature is useless. So we think our father's fool and so wise we grow. But we don't know that our wise son will no doubt think us so. So we will have to think of both the generations. Thank you so much.
Of course.